Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Shadowverse. So I did all 7 of what I assume are the original characters, and that's long enough that it logged me out. I should probably just check that every time. Um, and it finished some achievements, so that's my confirmation in my mind at least that, well, are you going to start or are you secretly loading in the background game? No sound effect. Oh yeah, it was just secretly reconnecting. Should probably pop up a box there. Um, but yeah, level 15 in Havencraft makes sense. Like, because we've been getting level 10, level 15 for everything. But here it says, clear chapter 8, the Morning Star, with 7 leaders without skipping the battle. Now, we did definitely skip the battle, but the difference there would be I went back and finished the battles later on, so I guess that's good enough. But it doesn't seem like inherently there is a quest here that says, or an achievement that says beat level 10 or level 14 in the first chapter, at least from what I can see. So yeah, they're kind of seems like they dropped the ball at that point. And some of these things where you just like defeat a character in single player mode and you're gonna get 200 rupees, you kind of know that that's gonna be like a one-time thing. Yeah. And after that point, you're really just going to get score rewards, which to get a score, I believe you have to actually win, which who knows if that's gonna happen. And looking at like the score rewards, you could get some sleeves that would be like a permanent thing. You get a lot of card packs, gold, and vials, but you're not really missing much else. Yeah, and to get like this top tier reward, you would have to have a massively high score, which does seem like that would be a reward more for the aged players, as it were, not the new players, where you have to kind of do a delicate balance as far as, do you want to reward the people who have locked in and been playing the game for 4 years and probably would never quit, or will more accurately fall off and stop playing the game at a rate of maybe 10 to 30% a year? Or do you want to continue to get that new growth and that new blood? I know, at least in a lot of businesses, you want to constantly get that new blood and bring in new people. As a YouTube video game critic, there's definitely a lot of people who've subscribed to my channel that definitely are not watching every single video that comes out. So the new viewers, the unsubscribed viewers, are something that you would chase after if you're just trying to get subscribers. And I would like to get 1,000 subscribers so I could make a few pennies on these videos, but after that point I kind of don't care anymore. I would, if I could get my channel to have some be just a livable wage, I'd be perfectly happy with that. Although the fluctuations on ad rates on YouTube, one month might be a livable wage, the next month might be nothing. So let's do Yuan. This class has cards with resonance effects. These effects activate depending on how many cards are in your deck, which I could see why this would not be a gameplay concept you would put in originally, considering how there really isn't a lot of deck size manipulation cards originally, nor is there even a confirmation as to what happens if you run out of cards. Like, we don't know if you run out of cards, if you just continue playing until you're defeated, or if you just lose immediately when you are milled down to 0. It'll also be interesting to see what story they tell us, because clearly his involvement in no way connects to any of the other leaders at all. And I am getting the feeling, generally, I think that when we get to the next chapter, we'll see that these characters do end up in like a different reality at some point. And I feel like at that point they could have probably redrawn some of the characters. Because if this came out 2 years into the series Shadowverse release, and this is the new art style, which honestly I think this art style is like way better than this art style, there would be a good point to say, hey, let's just redraw all these characters, change their outfits, change their appearance, go with a slightly more modern art style. This looks like a mid-90s JRPG art style, where this is more an early 2000s art style. Neither which of them are particularly modern, but I would definitely prefer this. Yeah. And them looking different in different universes would be an easy trick to doing that. An otherworldly man. Let's see what this is all about. Yeah. We start with the same thing again, but it will be kind of questionable, how does he integrate into the future chapters also? Does he just not show up, or was he added before chapter 2 was added, so then he does just integrate very nicely, or does he start showing up way later in like chapter 5 or 6? Or does he just transcend nature? Does he just integrate completely, not in the story at all? So there you have a jump animation.
It's the world ruled by Nexus of Serenity.
So he immediately knows everything that's going on. He immediately knows those are shades.
Those are her spawn. This world's keeper is Nexus. She's begun bringing destruction and rebirth. At this rate, all will be destroyed and reborn. I might have arrived too late.
So he's just gonna straight up explain everything, which, thank goodness.
No, not yet. It's too soon for regrets, for giving up. As long as this detestable scar of fate aches, I'll hunt the Keeper, and I'll destroy her.
So is he hunting Nexus, or is he hunting Eris? Because Eris was labeled the Keeper of the Dreams. Well, I don't think Nexus was ever labeled as anything. So maybe there's an argument to play as Yuan first.
Activate.
I think they kind of force you to play as Orisa first, but after that, Yuan probably would help put in a lot of details, but then you also would just have the problem of there being a situation where all the other stories then would feel completely terribly lacking in detail compared to the story, if the story goes the way it has been going. So I guess it's probably better to read a bad book before a good book, in general, if you plan on reading them, or if you have to read them both. In general, I guess you just want to read the good book. Portalcraft utilizes the power of artifact cards. Play Ironforged Fighter and add artifact cards into your deck. So, Resonance is activated. we're gonna put this on the field. It puts 2 radiant artifacts into your deck, making you have 30 cards. And then ends the turn. Okay.
I act at my heart's command.
I have played a little bit with Portalcraft, but I did not realize that Resonance was activated. Oh, interesting. In Portalcraft, some cards have resonance effects. Resonance effects activate when the deck contains an even number of cards. Ooh. Well, then doesn't that inherently mean you need an anti-resonance leader in deck that would activate when you had an odd number of cards? This is something Hearthstone did for a brief moment where and I believe Magic has a few cards that are also like this, where all the cards in your deck have to cost even or odd amounts. I don't think I've ever seen a collectible card game that says your deck size or your draw pile has to be even or odd. And at this point, I think it is the draw pile that they're referring to, not your actual deck size, because your deck size would be the amount of cards you started at the beginning. Your deck currently contains an odd number of cards, meaning resonance is not activated. As such, resonance effects will not activate. Black Iron Soldier is a card that can add draw cards from your deck. Play Black Iron Soldier to make the number of cards in your deck even and activate resonance. Alright.
Victory through steel.
So it draws 1 card. Number of cards in your deck is now even, so resonance is active. As you can see, it's possible to control whether resonance is active. And then we draw this,
Mercy, if you must.
which has an evolve, deal 3 damage to an enemy follower if resonance is activated. When resonance is activated, Roan Winged Nex can be evolved to deal damage to an enemy follower. Evolve it now to activate its effect. Every single one of these tutorial battles takes 2 or 3 turns. It involves you evolving a character and playing a very, very basic snippet of a game. The Lizard Man was destroyed. The Runwing Nexus is now able to attack because it evolved. Use it to attack the Minotaur.
Heavens, forgive me.
The opponent doesn't have any followers left. Attack the enemy with Ironforged Fighter. And win. Yeah.
Seems to be over.
It does just seem very weird that the Portalcraft would only activate resonance on even cards. And then there isn't a leader that were odd cards. I mean, you could have easily had 2 new heroes with that idea. And frankly, I think you could pretty easily think of 1 or 2 more hero play styles to add to this game. If you need to do that. Portalcraft controls the number of cards in your deck to activate the resonance effect and turn the tide of battle in your favor. Roan Wing Nexus is now yours. Add a deck and play a story match. Add it to your deck. And yeah, 15 minutes to get to this point, and we'll now just watch the story and see how it goes.
Nexus, you keepers toy with worlds. You drive them mad.
So maybe there are multiple
Gods. You claim
keepers.
destruction
I
and
guess there are.
fate. But you're all wrong. Lives and the histories of worlds aren't keepers' playthings. They're not yours to use. The world's fate belongs to those who live there. I'll show no mercy while this detestable fate still binds me. I will find you, and I will bring you crashing down.
Like his dialogue even is more anime, but it's also it is
On to another
better
lonesome
written,
battle.
more directionful instead of the directionless and useless lines of dialogue in the other characters. And if this were an anime and not a game, they would put a number on it. They would say there are like a dozen keepers in the universe, and he plans to defeat them all, or that there are 5 keepers or 4 keepers. They'd have some kind of stated end goal, where this is being left fairly open because it seems like in Chapter 2 we're going to defeat Nexus, and then there will just be a new keeper that shows up to be the new big bad. And that'll get fairly boring if it's just a new keeper after a new keeper after a new keeper.
Was my teleportation interrupted? Maybe my magical output was unstable.
So he seems like he doesn't walk anywhere. He teleports, but he can't apparently just can't just teleport directly to the Morning Star. And see, it would be interesting if
her spawn will continue appearing if I don't.
If Nexus really was just trying to defeat Yuan, he is a new guy, and as such, Nexus was using the shades to copy and get the skills of the other leaders so that they could then be copied and used to fight against him.
Roar and rampage, but it won't get you anywhere. I'll never stop moving forward. Not until I free this world.
And I guess he could probably just teleport out of this world if he fails at any point. So if it looks like he's gonna lose, I imagine he would just run away. But if they're gonna have him fight...
This world's atmosphere doesn't have much magic. It's not right for my body. I can't fight like this anymore. I'll have to utilize my power as a vessel. What is this? What happened to me? This mark.
Witlessness wins thee thy scar. Witlessness wins thee thy mark. Benighted ignoramus.
So he fought Nexus before, apparently.
It was you! I'll accept your scar if it'll help me fell keepers.
So apparently he might have been the heiress in a different world for a different keeper. And the idea that this world has very little magic does allow all the leaders to potentially be in a different world and have their magic grow, which is a smart move. He's still teleporting.
I should have arrived at the gate's base, but something pulled me away. It could be Nexus's doing. Still have to close the gap between the gate and myself, even if it means teleporting.
See, it seems like he's gonna barely fight anybody.
Another shade? Not now. I shall do what I can here. Arisa, you go.
Are they fighting Nexus's spawn? Well then, this world might still have a chance.
So
that means
he's just watching from a distance.
Who are you?
And then they're adding some story.
I have to fight alongside them to resist the destruction that Nexus of Serenity brought. Activate. Enhance. Fire.
So yeah, they're really just squeezing him into the story. Which, if the story was just a linear...
For magic, it was altogether.
If this was a linear story, adding him to it would be a lot better than the 8 different alternate takes on the same story.
Okay. I don't know who you are, but thanks. I beg your pardon.
And they probably had to work fairly hard to find a point where they could even squeeze him into the story.
This world still has conscious beings, so I will stop you, Nexus of Serenity. Mark my words. I'll get all the information I can from you. And then, I promise to destroy Nerva of Purgation.
So, Nerva of Purgation probably doesn't lock people into dreams of Serenity. And in 4 steps, he's made it to the Morning Star, which maybe we'll just have less battles this time. Maybe they learned their lesson and said, hey, you don't really need 14 chapters for each leader. Particularly an additional leader who is added later. I thought he was going to be the bad guy.
Then hands, fire.
He seems to be the only one that has to say anything to activate magic.
Nexus's gate is near, but still.
Seems almost computer-like, as if this whole world was just a simulation.
I knew this would be a path of sorrow. For you who bear this world's fate, I'll push past my limits and press on.
They've now kind of dumped down to the old style of storytelling, where he's not really saying anything of importance. It's just battle after battle.
My wound aches. This world's not right for my body. Or is this Nexus at work?
We kind of don't know anything about him, so we kind of don't know what his desire is at all.
Ye 7 whose backs are turned to fate, wretched children of this world, I will judge you.
This is different dialogue and not the same animation.
Nexus, I finally tracked you down. She's
yeah.
made the light-haired girl her vessel.
The
Corrosion is already advanced. This seems bad.
only one he seems to care about.
No will. Obey. Abandon thy will before the power of the keepers.
So Nerva tried to use Yuan.
Worthless, inept. Agony shall indeed be thy fate.
So
Where are you going?
Yuan was
Where
like
disappearing to? Are
uh,
you
like
running away, Nerva?
Lysaria.
In the life that awaits, pain shall be ever with thee. In the path that awaits, sorrow shall be ever with thee. Take heed.
Then we have weird
I wasn't compatible with
capital
Nerva.
and uncapital
That's why I
in the
regained my
dialogue,
consciousness.
but they're not really saying it in any way that it
I
sounds
have to hurry.
weird.
There's still time left.
Other than everything Nerva says seems to sound
She's
weird.
The girl from earlier. It's good to see she's back. So then, you'd better get ready, Nexus.
So it seems like he's not even going to run into any of the other leaders. Which once again goes to really show that Lysaria, who was in the prologue, and Orisa, who is the first leader, and Eris are kind of the only important characters in the story, and then they really padded it out to just get up to 7, now 8 leaders. Which I would like to see in collectible card games. I'd like to see a split where you could play as any character visually that you like, and then have any ability you choose. So if I want to play the Bloodcraft and have Orisa as my leader, I would like to be able to see that and play that way.
This I did not foresee.
more options would be better.
There are too many to count.
And it seems like we're just
We cannot
getting
handle them easily enough.
a hint
We can
at
only keep
what the
fighting
next
so
chapter
long
looks
until-
like.
We're almost there. We're so close, I can almost feel her. We can't give up yet.
And our lips are not moving
Then
once
take
again.
heart. If anyone can do it, it's you.
You helped us before.
Seems like Arissa in particular half the
Thou
time
art
does not
marked. Thou
have
art the
animated
vessel
lip
of
flap
Nerva.
movements.
I traverse dimensions to vanquish you, Keeper.
And so there's just a whole collection of enemies he defeated in one hit.
Spawn of Nexus, you are the wicked darkness. You eat at this world. May your prideful deeds be punished.
They're not even doing the thing where he's fighting like shades that are copies of the other leaders.
The shades are disappearing.
It almost makes the argument that Portalcraft is just by default better than all the other 7 leaders.
Let's fight for the world.
You got it. Thank you, whoever you are. And Nexus, next time I'll cut through you. It's not scary with you guys.
I'll take you down, Nexus. Wait and see.
You're in for all the magic I've got. In for the very last bit.
They kind of are implying that Isabel and Dragspear might get together in a future romance. I doubt it
My
though.
pride led me to make many mistakes. For those, I will soon atone. On my life, I vow to defeat
It'd be really
you.
funny if the vampire and the priestess end up together.
Let us fight for the future of this world.
It's a little surprising the way the stories are shown, that they didn't at some point decide to add like a 2 versus 2 mode in the game. Or if there is a 2 versus 2 mode, I have yet to see it. So maybe we will just spend the next
Destruction and
next
rebirth are the fate of
7
the
or 8
world.
chapters
By
right in
these
front of the
two
Morning
principles
Star.
cycle all worlds. To object is impermissible.
And this is the first time we get any real dialogue from Nexus.
Destruction? Rebirth? You don't get to decide that. It's completely unacceptable.
Such is not for you to refuse. We are keepers. We hold the worlds at our bosom.
Is that how you spell bosom? B-O-S-O-M?
What are keepers?
Well then, she doesn't know about the Keepers. She's like I used to be. Destruction and rebirth incarnate. Rulers of worlds. That's what Keepers are. You didn't know, and you summoned them.
I did.
Don't let it trouble you. Sooner or later they'd have arrived in this world.
Do you know about Nexus?
Not much about her. But about Keepers, I might know more than you.
And why is that?
The world that I came from, it was destroyed by a Keeper.
So he's just doing the whole
What do you mean?
expedition dump,
Yours isn't the only world that exists.
which would
There are many others out there.
be
They all
more
have
useful
keepers like
if
Nexus
he had just
observing.
shown up and teleported in front of all the other leaders at the beginning of the story,
There are other worlds
and then
above
given
ours.
them all this quest
Ah!
to defeat Nexus, and then there would be so many chapters in other people's stories where they aren't just listlessly wandering around.
How entertaining!
One might call me that. I came to destroy her. To free the world from nature's order. I will defeat you, Nerva. I'll get vengeance for this world. And to get revenge.
They're failing to really tell us
Opponent of
why
nature's order.
Nexus or
You and
Nerva
your
would
world
bother
shall be destroyed.
to try to destroy the world and rebirth the world. Doesn't seem like they have a real desire to be
Keep looking
worshipped,
ahead. Your determination will overcome nature's order.
or
I've
that they
passed
really
through
get anything
countless
from it.
worlds. I've never seen anyone this determined. We'll be fine. We'll vanquish this keeper.
I really wouldn't describe the other leaders as superly determined. I mean, I put them in the medium scale at
Nexus
best.
of serenity. Your arrogance won't stand. Let's end this.
Yeah, I guess maybe you could argue that they
Why?
like destroy worlds to
I,
increase their own magic
Burner of
amount.
harmony, defeated by foolish mortals, such as you.
This is weird that we would actually
Every so
see the
often,
ending.
life transcends nature. You underestimated life's determination.
Everyone look! The Morning Star!
She's opening a gate, planning to go to another world. We can't let her.
So maybe Yuan's story
Damn it!
is a alternate universe take on the events that happen to everybody else, and he's gonna end up waking up in the world once again, or maybe he
For you.
might be
For your world, there is but despair.
like he might be just telling his whole story all the way up to like chapter 9 in chapter 1,
Destruction
and that way they
rebirth
don't bother to really
come perforce
add him or wedge him
My
into the
hand will
events
bring
of the
them
other chapters.
to this world.
Which
Sleep, O
will-
world,
Would in future
until the hour
chapters
ordained.
basically ignore him and have him do nothing. Actually, you could solve this fairly well if you just killed him
Something's going on.
at the end of this
Nexus
chapter.
of serenity. Are you fleeing? Are you fleeing? After forcing your arrogance on us and devastating everything?
Destruction and rebirth come perforce. My hand will bring them to this land. Take heed. Take heed. Take heed. Take heed. Take heed.
Suppose you could have the 8th leader be Lucaria in the other chapters.
Can't go! Lucaria! 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 Now what? Nexus is... Lucaria is gone.
Again,
That's not
no
all.
lip flaps on her.
Something seems strange now.
There's something.
This area, no, the world, is dead.
There's
silent.
something glitched in how they animate
Keepers
her.
destroy and revive
Or they just
worlds.
rewrote her
But
dialogue.
there's more to them than that.
Maybe
Each
they
one has
rewrote
a
her dialogue
special
to give her
power.
more lines of dialogue.
Nexus of serenity has the power of stillness. Power to put worlds to sleep. To make them stand still.
Make worlds stand still?
But what about the princess?
I'm sorry. Everyone you wanted to save is locked inside. Inside Nexus's dream. We probably can't save them. Not while the world stands still.
But the princess! What about the princess?
She really is
Hold
obsessed
yourself.
with the
There
princess.
must be another avenue we haven't explored yet, right?
But for you, it might be a path of sorrow. Let me introduce myself. I'm called Ewan. I've crossed
Ewan?
dimensions to find Nerva of Purgation.
I would have pronounced it
I'm
Yuan.
hunting for the keeper of my world.
Has your world stopped like ours?
No. Mine was destroyed. Purged without compassion. Without mercy. All I've got left is vengeance.
That's awful.
You and I are comrades now. I'll help you if you're hunting keepers.
It seems
Path of sorrow
like
stretches on.
the vessel
Can you seven really continue
has to be
live?
reselected whenever they go to a different world,
But I'll trust you.
because
You lost your world.
Nexus would have had some other vessel.
Cross dimensions to meet
So either the vessel disintegrates very quickly, or gets rejected when they go to a different world, or just gets rejected in general. Because clearly he was selected as a vessel for Nerva from his world, and then he disconnected from Nerva. And Lucaria was connected as a vessel for Nexus, and she seems to be staying connected to Nexus. Okay, well, that was only 36 minutes. Interesting. So, if we jump back in here, 6 chapters is much more reasonable. There are, I suppose, less rewards available to you because of that, but that seems much more reasonable than the standard, like, 14 chapters that we were doing for 14 or 15 chapters for all the other characters. That they cut it right in half, and his story oddly did push us further ahead. So let's see what the Morningstar conclusion has to say. Or do we want to do single player experiences? I think we're doing the story here, and I think it would make sense to assume, yeah, the 8 characters are still Yuan here, and the 4 leaders in this one is one group. Interesting. And the 4 characters down here is a second group, so they did just split that up. Okay. So, yeah, I guess we're focused on the story. We should just move forward and see what this does. The world at an end. And see, this might be shorter. I think I saw that this was 12 chapters, but maybe we can get through it real quick. Nexus begins acting to bring liberation to the dreamers and sorrow to the refusers. She is preparing to return the world to the primeval void.
This world shall now return to its primeval home.
So
To the
she's
maternal
inside
void.
the Morningstar at the moment.
Sleep, ye beings ensconced in a dream of serenity.
So
Your
it
inner
seems
darkness
like
has taken form
this is
outside
starting
you.
a little bit further back than even the ending of most of the leader stories. I mean, this might
The
actually be
darkness
going
that
back
your
to
lives
the very
begat
beginning of
shall
the story.
swallow the world,
Or almost.
and the world shall be extinguished. Apart from the foolish ones. Ye shall not know slumber, and neither shall ye know liberation. Within you is darkness, so sorrow alone will be yours.
So Nexus apparently is going to
Ye
actively
wretched
take
children
on
of this world,
these 7 people,
ye who depart from
but
the
they didn't
natural
bother
order,
to show Yuan. So clearly this
be gone.
conclusion element is not going to have Yuan in it at all.
Perish. Pain and despair befit you, miserable children of darkness. Take your leave. I am Nexus, the instrument that bringeth harmony, destruction, and rebirth for the world.
It would be nice if they actually explained why. And weren't just saying basically that she's a malevolent evil. Following classes can be selected in this chapter: Forestcraft or Havencraft. Okay, so we'll skip the battle, and they're gonna have you be able to take your pick, which I definitely could realize that it would have been nicer to be able to take your pick and play as any like type of deck that you choose.
They are shades. They are born of Nexus's power and embody the darkness found in the hearts of all.
Again,
While Nexus confines all living creatures to a dream world, the shades
it seems
destroy
like
everything.
they all had to get together and once again make a second journey to the Morning Star.
And all life within. A false serenity and an irrevocable end. This is the liberation that Nexus would bring. The liberation for which I myself once wished. That just isn't right. It's not liberation. How could you ever want that, Eris? There were the ill-born wretches, the victims of malice, the short-lived misfortunates robbed by fate. There was poverty, inequality, war, and disaster. The world was overflowing with sorrow, and I wished to extinguish it. No matter the means, no matter the cost. But I do not feel that way anymore. I now understand my arrogance, and Luna, be careful!
I would be fairly careful in pairing up with Eris, because she kind of is flippant. She didn't really have a great reason to explain why she's had this change of heart and why she wouldn't just have it once again. It probably would be better if she just said, I have no idea, I've lost my memory, or I am not the person I used to be, at least. Like, even hinting that some bigger events occurred to change her mind. She could also certainly say, it was your will and determination from the 7 other people that convinced her that her ways were wrong.
Are you trying to get us hurt? I had it under control. Oh, and just so you're aware, I said I'd help out, but that doesn't mean I'm doing things your way.
Is that right? Well then, the same goes for me.
So,
Can't you two take it easy on each other?
it seems like this would be where you have a first opportunity to have actual character development.
My only partner was Kyle, and now he's gone.
See, like, this is the thing that should have been in the first chapter, is that they were together and they could have human conversations with other humans and actually have character development, instead of them just constantly fighting each other for no reason. I mean, you could have a tournament arc later if you just want to have each character fight themselves. Even in most anime, you don't start with the tournament arcs. The tournament arcs are added later on because people are trying to buy time to finish their deadlines in the manga or the animation. So they don't want to have to write any extra story.
Let's get a move on.
But if you were just going to have a fighting anime, you wouldn't immediately start with a tournament arc.
We need to work together.
I've never seen it done that way, really.
It's just the way things are. Our reasons for wanting to vanquish Nexus couldn't be more different. I, for one, am the princess's sword and her shield. I'm here to complete a mission, not to make friends.
And at a certain point, somebody should just reply to Erica, "Sword and shield, yeah, we get it. You're a lesbian. You're in love with her."
Help us open our hearts to one another, but I can no longer. Don't blame yourself, Eris. Nobody's wrong here. All I want to do is to save Losaria. It is saddening nonetheless. We 7 are the last people left to this world.
And see, once again, they say 7.
I was wondering why we'd only seen shades. It is because all beings of this world have been shrouded in Nexus's dreams of serenity. The only ones to awaken were us and... the vampire, Urias, right? That is correct. The fate of this world rests upon the shoulders of us 7. Only 7 people in the whole world. We'll have to do a good job. Indeed. We must fight to the last.
Once again, I think it would make more sense if they had written it, particularly if you're going to say this whole world only has 7 people surviving. It would make a lot more sense on the overworld map if it was 7 people from 7 very distant and distinctly different countries, instead of giving us a rather small perspective of an overworld map where it seems like everybody is within just a few kilometers of each other. It makes the world feel very small at that rate, as if there's one creepy forest in the entire world, and then, like, let's just look at it. It makes it feel like this is the entirety of the world. There's one elf forest, and then mountains block all of your way over here, and then there's one creepy forest, and then mountains block all of your way over here. And they never really did anything over here at all. So perhaps this is just such a small universe that they don't even know what's beyond the mountains. That does leave them some storytelling elements where they could say, we must go above the North Mountains, or we must go far to the east, or far to the west, or far to the south, and then they can discover new lands. But yeah, I would definitely have preferred this to have like country markers on it and not just one capital and one city. I mean, honestly, with a world this small, one famine would have wiped them out fairly easily. And this time it's swordcraft and runecraft, and I guess it asks you, if you don't skip the battle, who you're going to play as. Or maybe it mixes cards between both of the categories, and then you can pick like what ability you want.
I've got this.
We kind of are just back to the same thing again.
You weren't given the title of commander for nothing.
That was a long time ago.
Really, it's just fighting.
This might not be the time or place to
with
ask.
maybe a little bit of
Why did you
conversation.
leave the army?
It's better. It's better than the
committed
first
a crime.
chapter.
One I can never undo.
So you left the army to make amends?
No, that's not it. It wasn't to make amends. I wanted to stay out of sight, so I ran away.
Yeah, their two stories are fairly similar. Who just attacked there?
You ran.
Isabel?
You ran from Kyle and you ran from me.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't follow.
I killed him. The love of her life.
Killed him? But why?
Is he ever gonna explain that? Nope. See, and that's why you don't drop the lead in a sense like that early on. Bury it under I was cursed by a dragon that caused me to turn into a dragon that then killed Kyle, her love. That way you can push the blame onto the dragon that you turn into and not you directly.
You fell a little behind.
Yeah, we're fine.
What were you about to say, Dragspear? I don't mean to pry, but
Like,
this
he
might
should
call for
tell
a
them he's a
response.
danger to the entire
Her
team.
fiancé, Kyle, and I, we were fighting together to protect the kingdom. During the battle, I was cursed by the black dragon of malediction. Whenever I want to protect someone, that curse transforms me into a monstrous dragon.
And so apparently he doesn't want to protect anyone around here.
Dragon like the one that...
I'm sorry. When I transformed,
You can't control yourself when you turn into a dragon. Is that safe to assume?
yeah.
I see. That clarifies things. In that case,
Kill him right now.
Erica?
That is the right move.
I'm restraining you.
But Erica, why? Didn't we all just promise to work together?
He knew he was dangerous, but he didn't say a thing. I have every reason to restrain him.
But you can't just...
Any obstacles will be removed. You're done for, Dragspear.
I agree with Erica. Although I would straight up...
Stop this!
although I'd pretty much
Out of my way, priestess.
kill him. If you can't cure the curse.
Only we seven are left to this world. Why then must you do this?
Just so you know, priestess, I don't trust you either. If you become an obstacle,
Good point.
then I will remove you.
So anyone you don't trust gets the sword? Well, then you shouldn't mind this. Because I don't trust you either. Isabel, not you! Not now! Please stop!
You know what? You've got no right to judge
See,
that
and
man.
this is
None
just
at all.
like...
No one does but me or Kyle.
This is way better reasons
You were
for
just
people to
another enemy,
fight each
and
other
that's fine by me.
instead of fighting shade versions of each other.
Please! Stop already, you guys! We have to fight Nexus together. There are only 7 of us, and we're all partners. So why are you doing this?
How many times do I have to tell you that we're not partners? I can't do this anymore. I'm making my own way, so be sure to stay out of it.
Isabel, wait!
This was only ever a temporary alliance. It seems to have run its course. So farewell.
I'm leaving too. Off to find her on my own.
Erica,
And they'd all split up.
Rowan,
And see, this would have been a good point for them all to
we all said we'd work together.
to go and fight Nexus and
I'm
get caught
leaving too.
into the
It's better being
dreamscape.
alone. You too, Luna? Why?
Luna got no character development. That's
Elisa.
accurate.
Please do not lose hope.
It's
I
like,
know our
why are
paths
you
will
leaving,
cross
Luna?
again. Okay then. Thank you, Eris. Losaria would have known how to keep everyone together. If only Losaria was here and not me.
I mean, yeah, in all seriousness, just lose chapter 1 and have this be the first chapter after the prologue. Or take the good elements, of which there's very little of chapter 1, and maybe add 1 chapter before this starts. We'll probably go a little long today since we're doing chapter
I
2.
can see it now. The Morning Star. That's an awfully long way to walk alone. But I can't give up now. I have a responsibility to my family and to Isabel. Huh? More shades! Ha!
Feels like we're just gonna be back to fighting shades. Whether or not they turn into copies of other characters or not.
What? I've seen that thing before.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point the shade turns into the Black Dragon.
I'm not gonna lose here.
There is an opportunity where the shades could appear as like things that have scared the heroes or enemies they've had in the past.
You proclaimed you would defeat the beasts, but you are dismally weak.
Urias Formond.
Ah, so it was you. You are as tiresome as ever.
Thanks for helping me out there.
I have not helped you. What help can there be for a man who has forgotten how to battle? For such a weakling, for such an unworthy opponent.
Oh? And how do you think you know me so well?
I have not claimed to know you. I merely state what I see. And I see that you are weak.
I might be weak compared to a vampire like you, but I'm...
What need is there to compare? Your weakness is a simple truth, not the result of a comparison.
What?
You refuse to unleash your might. Instead, you quake and tremble at it. How risible you are!
I wonder what would happen if a vampire did drink the blood of a
You
dragon.
are no different from the dream world illusions. You
Could you turn the dragon into a vampire?
and you do not thirst for
That would be
victory.
cool.
They, like you, are endlessly tiresome. Whether assaulted or crushed, they offer no resistance. Now you will prepare to fight, or you will prepare to die.
You don't need to tell me.
May the battle begin, insipid though it may be.
So yeah, we're still going forward, and it definitely is 2 or 3 steps better in chapter 2.
Creatures this
So
weak
by the
could
time we
not
get to
serve
chapter
a
3 or
powerful
4,
master.
we might actually have a decent story in the game.
That was close.
Of course, that's asking
I shall
a
take my leave
ton of
you.
time.
Go
Well,
live your
let's
life,
be honest
if it
here.
can be called that.
You're talking maybe
Wait.
24 hours just to do
Yes.
chapter 1
Have you had
if
a
you
change of
actually
heart?
do the
You
battles.
said that I wasn't a worthy fighter.
And
you're
then
wrong.
there's
I just have responsibilities.
8 more chapters after that.
Oh.
So
And what are those?
you might be somewhere around 200 or 300 hours
Responsibility to my family.
to get all of
And my
this done if it's
responsibility for the
not
crime I've
sped
committed.
up.
I have to own up to them.
Permit me to ask, are those truly responsibilities? You seem to be confused. Responsibilities make one stronger. They do not make one weaker.
What are you trying to say?
The responsibilities that Balthazar bore made him strong. Responsibilities to the state and to his subjects strengthened him. But you boast of responsibility.
They're kind of
and
implying
then
that
accept
he might
defeat.
become king at some
Why
point.
could you not defeat me to fulfill your responsibilities? You have no responsibilities. You have only chains.
No, that's where you're wrong. I lost to you because I didn't want the dragon's curse to take hold. If I used all my strength, I'd lose myself and transform into a dragon. That's why.
I see now. You are, to put it simply, a failure.
What?
You wish to take responsibility, yet you fear to use your power. As such, you may wither and decay, but you will not succeed. You are hopeless, exasperatingly hopeless. More wasted time.
I meant to help my family. I meant to make up for my crime. That's what I thought I was doing.
There's an interesting thought here
Curse brought me to a halt.
that perhaps the different perspectives of these different characters
Yeah.
would potentially make each person
Not just
a better
this.
person for
It's not
just
that.
owning up and listening to other people's
The last
perspectives
thing that I need is you
and
rubbing
opinions.
I know that.
I don't think the
And it's the
writing is good
reason I
enough to
hate
really reveal that that was the
Sorry I
plan
couldn't
all
protect you,
along.
Rachel and Natalie.
Uh,
I wish it didn't have to end.
it is an interesting message that probably should be said more
I said it
often,
was for my
particularly
family and
in
accepted
modern
defeat.
times.
I said it was for Isabel and accepted death. But it was all for me.
But
If I was
I'm not
really
sure
thinking of
who's
my
going to
family, I
really,
would have fought to win. And if I
who is really
cared
going to
about
teach
Isabel,
Urias a
I wouldn't have
lesson.
tried to make her deal with my death. So I'm a failure after all. Urias Formond? Looks like you're right. So now what? I can't take responsibility and I can't use my power. What am I supposed to do?
Let's keep on playing. Yeah, we might go about 2 hours.
I didn't want to disappoint Kyle, so I said I'd help.
And Isabel
But look what I've done.
seems like she is
I let my
probably
emotions
gonna.
get the best of me, and now there's no going back. Oh, I was so stupid.
She's probably gonna save
Kyle,
Dragspear.
if you were here, would you make me feel better? Would you tell me I was wrong? Is that?
Yeah, and I think Isabel and Luna do make a good pair to
No,
travel
she's in
together.
trouble.
Get out of the way.
It's because they both need somebody to care for them, really.
What was that?
Huh?
I'm
Were you
fairly
looking for me?
certain that Isabel saw
No, but
Luna
come
in
here
some
alone and
form
not with the priestess.
I wanted to
fight
be alone.
anyway.
You guys were so angry.
But it's dangerous for you to be by yourself.
It's fine. Mother and father are with me.
Mother and father? There behind you?
Yeah, mother and father. They're hurting because I'm bad.
Those things are her parents? They look like monsters. I don't understand. So, you can talk to your mother and father there behind you, right?
No, we can't talk. We could before, but not now.
Yeah, it's just groaning now.
Earlier you were...
I don't really get it. But the person in white clothes said the voices were my imagination.
Imagination?
Hmm.
Then this girl's power isn't to bring the dead back to life. It's to bind them.
I'm bad. Mother and father are hurting, and it's all my fault.
Apparently she doesn't know how to release them or can't release them. At some point in the story, you would want to help Luna release her
Get behind
parents.
me.
That way you can eliminate
No, it's okay.
having
I'm
to
fine.
put groaning sounds and
Don't get hurt, okay?
have an animation of
Here we go.
ghosts behind her the whole time. Because that kind of really countermands the idea of her being a in peril weak child.
Oh, looks like we got them. Hey, are you hurt?
Nope.
So what are you going to do now? Are you going to beat Nexus, or...
I don't know. I just don't want mother and father to hurt anymore. I hate it.
Why did you make your parents like that?
The bad guy killed them. He killed mother and father. Then mother and father stopped moving. It was so sad. I wanted them to be with me. Now they're like
So
this.
I don't know if an
And it's
alchemist
my
would
fault.
really
It's my fault
have
they're
any kind of
hurting.
exorcism or
I wanted them to be with me. I
magical
shouldn't have- I
powers.
should've let them die for real.
Yeah.
She can't control her power. That's why she's despairing.
Mother, father. I'm sorry.
But she would probably know the
sorry, I'm
general
sorry for hurting
concepts
you.
of learning to
It's
use
not only that,
powers.
though. She's concerned for her dead parents. Genuinely
So
concerned.
she could teach her a thing or two.
She's not crying because she's lonely. She's crying because her parents are bound to this world. And they're suffering. You're such a caring little girl. Did I ever care about how Kyle would feel if I brought him back to life? How he'd feel if I bound him to this world?
No, I'm not. I'm bad. I'm bad.
Oh,
Did she just read her mind? Because she was was saying that in her head.
Like mother. Like father.
I'm not really sure. But when
Yeah,
I saw you
they're
like
like
that,
reading each other's mind, probably because probably not. Probably they've just terribly written
wrong?
this.
He's He's being attacked by shades. He's not fighting back. Rowan, why? Luna, sorry, would you come with me?
Sure.
Rowan, why are you trying to run away? You've got responsibilities, you know that.
And I guess we'll only quickly mention that if Isabella did hug Luna with her massive cleavage, one would have to position her quite carefully in animating that. Otherwise, it's going to look very awkward.
Why, Rowan? Why are you running away?
Isabel, and you too.
You ran away from me. You killed Kyle and you didn't take responsibility. And it's not just that. You even ran from your precious family, didn't you?
They're
So why are
saying
you running away again?
take
You're
responsibility a
running away
little too
again.
often, to the point where if you weren't paying attention,
You always take the easy
you
way
could
out.
take it
Tell
that
me.
he just impregnated her and then ran away.
Really running away? Isabel, I don't... No. You're right. Isabel, I pretended I was looking out for other people. But I only had myself in mind. I said that I left my family to avoid hurting them. But that wasn't true. I was just too scared to show them what I'd become. I said that I left the army to take responsibility for killing Kyle. But that wasn't true either. I was just too ashamed to look anyone in the eye. I'm so pathetic. Why am I like this? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and a lot of this would probably make a lot more
Don't
sense.
cry. I'm gonna hug you.
It would make a lot more sense in Japanese, I imagine.
I don't know, but you're sad. When she hugged me like mother and father, I felt better. Oh. It's like the person with white clothes said. She said the world is full of sorrow. There's lots of sad stuff and lots of bad stuff and people crying. She wants it to all go away. I get that.
So now
But
they're
it's my fault.
basically this makeshift
It's my
family
fault
unit.
I'm always crying.
No, it's okay. You're okay now. Don't blame yourself anymore.
And this would have been the first time we would have seen the Shade before they added Yuan as a character.
Is that a shade? No, it's...
It's different from anything we've seen yet.
These are pretty lazily animated, I would say. Just very rough brush strokes. Like, no real detail, or very much opposite of what you see in the other leaders, where
Did it just
there's just
summon other
tons
shades?
of tiny
There's no running this time.
detail and
Sorry,
sharp
Isabel, but I need
lines
your
and
help.
and
We've gotta slice
images
through
and
these
angles.
Yeah, sure. I'll take care of the little ones with a spell.
Thanks. Now you, little girl.
I'm fine. I can fight too. I've got mother and father with me.
All right.
She's just saying the
You and
same
me, we'll take down the
phrase
big one.
almost every time. I've got mother and father with me. Yeah, feels like they should have done a slightly better job of animating the enemies and the shades, considering how you're going to see them as much, if not more, than any individual leader. Although in the multiplayer you're not going to see them at all, so I could see what
Isabel!
they're thinking.
If we don't act fast, we're through. What to do?
You wish to take responsibility, yet you fear to use your power. As such, you may wither and decay, but you will not succeed. You are hopeless. Exasperatingly hopeless.
Dragspear has to figure out a way to turn into a dragon and
Together,
use his
Rowan.
power.
How can you still be so indecisive? You've run and you've run. Are you gonna run again?
Interesting split dual attack.
Rowan!
It's just like you said. I've been running this whole time. From you, from Kyle, from my family. But I've had enough. More than enough. And I'm not running anymore. Isabel, take the girl to the Morning Star.
What? You're going off alone?
Are you gonna die?
Not if I can help it. Living with myself is the only way I can take responsibility. I finally get that.
Just roaring sounds, and they ran out of background sound effects.
So
Too early.
That's why I have to protect you two. I'll make sure you're safe. Isabel, go now. Let me handle this.
Don't lie to me, Rowan. And don't you dare die on me either.
This is still just like way better character development and writing than the first chapter.
This curse.
I wonder if it was a month later the chapter 2 came out, or a year later.
Giving me power.
Like,
The power to protect you.
I imagine after chapter 1, Shadowverse hit a level of success that it was making enough money for them to really justify having a better writer, or paying the writer more so that they could write a better story.
Your body's transforming. And your mind's clouding over.
Inherently,
But
I
don't
think
forget-
that is the way a lot of collectible card games will be, because there is just a very large chance of collectible card games not catching on, even Japanese ones, where collectible card games are way more popular. There is also a danger of the first 2 years going fairly well in collectible card games, and then as soon as they do a rotation and cycle out the initial group of expansions, then people lose interest because they potentially spent hundreds of dollars getting card collections and building up decks that they really like to play, and then there may be no way to actually play those old expansion cards anymore, or less of an emphasis on playing those old expansion cards. That's one of the beauties of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fact that
I will protect you.
pretty much all of the cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are still playable,
Thank you, Eris.
with just a reserved and banned
I
list.
shall ease your pain.
But Magic the Gathering, on the other hand, has major rotations for its extremely long-running series,
Wow.
and a reserved and banned list.
Thank you so much. I am
So,
pleased that I could assist you.
There
The shades
there really
attacks are growing more intense.
is lesser
We
of a
must be
reason to actually
vigilant.
rotate out a lot of
Yeah.
expansions, other
Do
than
you
they
think
just
everyone
want you
else
to
is okay?
want to force you to buy more
You
cards.
are a kind soul, Arisa. Even in circumstances such as these, you show such concern for the others.
It's interesting, she just
Concern
healed
isn't enough.
Arisa.
I have to be better, like
But-
Rosaria.
Havencraft's
In Dreamland,
gameplay
Arisa,
style
I told you that you
really
were
doesn't
something
center
special.
around healing
Yeah.
anywhere as much as I
was
think
so
it
silly
should.
of me to never realize what I was feeling. No, it was not. We all bury some emotion deep down, and emotion can be neither right nor wrong. But I am in no position to lecture, having spoken to you as I did. You are already good in your own special way, Arisa. Eris, I don't... Even after all I did, you said you would trust me. And even in this vortex of sorrow, you are more concerned about the others than yourself. I believe your kind heart is second to none, Arisa. It is yours, and yours alone.
It
Mine and mine alone.
is an oddly saccharine, sweet
Rosaria's got
conversation
her way of being good.
that we're having right now.
Huh. Eris, I'm going to try harder now. It's really best if we fight together. I agree. I shall assist you in any way possible.
It feels like instead of in the first chapter, characters making it all the way to the Morning Star and then getting trapped in a dream world, and then apparently when they escape the dream world, getting teleported back to where they originally started. It would kind of make more sense if the Morning Star, just created the dream world in this reality by having Shades pretend to be her friend, like Losaria and the other loved ones of the other leaders, and they were not actually in a false reality. It was just that the Shades were pretending to be people and trying to keep them in their place and away from the Morning Star. Just the logistics of traveling from and to the Morning Star 2 or 3 times really gets ridiculous. It's getting to the point of being just a joke.
Is everything all right, Eris? Yes, I'm fine. Thank you, Eris. I feel better thanks to you. No, I am not worthy of your praise. You seemed a little mean before, but not now. Now you're a really nice person, Eris. Thank you. Such earnest eyes. Such sincere words. You are fit to guide other beings, Arisa.
There is a good question about where did that cliche, which is probably fairly true, of nuns, priest, and priestess being meaner than you would think they would be, just in their general description,
We have to go.
in the real world.
Arisa, wait. Rowan cannot control his power when he is
Although a
dragon.
desire for
Maybe it's dangerous
power
to
and a
admit,
pride and an
I'm going
arrogance,
to help everyone
I
fight.
have noticed, does seem to
I don't think Rowan
come
wants
in
to hurt
line with
anyone,
people who
so we have to stop it.
desire to be leaders of
I will accompany you.
religious groups.
Thank you. Wait for us, Rowan. We'll help you.
There is also an argument that a lot of people that become leaders in groups are just not trained or qualified to be leaders.
I shall do what I can here. Arisa, you go.
That would certainly explain a lot too.
Who are you?
So now
Enhance.
we're back to Yuan. So his story in chapter 1 really is just the elements that show up in chapter 2. And again, I'm not sure if this isn't just
For magic it was
being
all together.
crammed into chapter
Get to
2.
where you're going. Hurry. You two can make it.
Okay. I don't know who you are, but thanks.
It would be fairly weird if it turned out that chapter 2 came out first and it was actually originally chapter 1,
So I will
and
stop you next
then they
from
crammed
me.
a
Mark
prequel
my
chapter in
words.
it. So, yeah. Interesting. So maybe they redid these later chapters to put Yuan in it, or making
What was that?
minor changes.
There's no way that war could have been a shade. Could it be Rowan Dragspear? If it is, then right now he's a... No, stop. That doesn't warrant your attention. All you need to do is complete your mission. All these battles have taken their toll on me. It's so hard to move. But I can't give in. Not yet. Not long now till I reach the Morning Star. Wait for me, Princess. I'll be there.
So you too are alone. Was your pact with the others some peculiar joke?
Urias Formond!
Ah, you still have the will to fight. Shall we then? It would be my pleasure.
See, you'd think
Not
you would be
now.
more
This is no
interested
time for
in
me to be
saving the
fighting you.
world, so you'd have more
How
opponents
tedious you
potentially
all are.
alive.
and those dim-witted beasts.
They've got us surrounded. It looks like we'll have to fight our way out.
Sheathe your sword and run along. I can easily handle their numbers alone.
You must be kidding. I'm not about to lower my guard around you.
Such bluster from one so covered in wounds. Do as you wish.
That's just
It'd
what
be
I
kind of
planned to
funny if
do.
it turned out
The morning star's so
he
close.
turned her
I
into a
can't lose now.
vampire because he found her a worthy opponent eventually. Because she is the one that seems to have the most fight in her. And the closest to a fighting spirit as Urias has.
Princess, wait for me. I will find you.
From head to toe she is injured, yet she wields her blade with precision. She must be drawing power from her force of will. How curious her kind are. I shall test how far you can be pushed.
Urias Formond, what are you?
You block me? Though you are young, you are resolute.
What are you trying to accomplish? Don't you want to defeat Nexus?
I have told you, I will make my own way.
Ugh.
What sense is there in accomplishment? I only wish to exercise my power. To exercise it where and with whom I see fit.
I don't see why she wouldn't have him become the vessel.
I am a shade, you say? How risible.
Aren't you though? You don't have any goal but mindless violence.
Mindless violence? I stated that it is not so. I use my strength only against those I deem worthy. Give thanks, for you may someday be fit, but not yet.
Merciless fiend, you leave me no choice. Forgive me, princess. I have to unshackle my heart. Here, now. I'm about to use the bloody art I swore off forever. Your life is mine, Urias Formond. Ah!
Well now, your technique has altogether changed.
I have to confess my wrongdoings to the princess and show her real loyalty. That's why I have to use this forbidden art.
So this is the source of your strength. Yes, yes.
So yeah,
Ah!
plenty of character development still. We're doing way better.
It may have equaled that of Balthazar. Yes, warriors' power is limited only by their strength of will. I wish to see your limits.
Urias Formond,
But
this
there's
is as far as you go.
kind of going fairly
That's
slow
enough.
in just the conversations.
You two.
Please, I need you to stop Rowan. To protect me and the girl, he...
So I was right. That roar was Rowan Dragspear.
Yes, probably. The girl and I can't stop him on our own. So please, help us.
Ha! So the man has finally revealed his true strength.
And what if I refuse?
You don't want to find out.
I'll have a hard time defeating Nexus if I push myself too hard here. What choice do I have? All right.
A dragon! It has been quite some time, but very well.
Tell me Rowan won't be...
Yeah, I really feel like there's a... Sorry, I've had nothing to say for like several minutes. But there is kind of a more interesting story being teased here of a world of just vampires fighting
We should
dragons.
move out.
And just eliminate the humans and their alchemy and necromancy and whatever her ability is. I don't even remember what it's called. They're just taking forever to get there. To the end, though. So, in this one, you play as all 5 of them. I think there's 3 more after this. So... typically you would have like a big battle, and then like a phase 2 big battle, then like a phase 3 big battle. And this might be very difficult for me to actually beat if I was to play the card game, because they might give Nexus like 20 or 40 health in the first battle, and then maybe even 80 health in the second battle, and maybe even 100 health or more in the third battle. And I'm not sure particularly how in this card game you would be able to do even 30 health worth of damage without there being a very well thought out planned game mechanic or synergy, something that you normally couldn't do in a regular game. I have found one pre-built deck that has a character in the Bloodcraft style. There's a character that will reduce the number of damage the hero takes to 0, and when one character is evolved, and then there's another character when he's evolved that will try and reduce the hero down to 10 health, and there's also a part of one of those characters that also does damage to the opponent instead. So in theory, if you could get a 3-card combination where you can evolve 2 characters in the same turn, which is practically impossible, you could play this 3-card combination as I understand it. So it would try to reduce you down to 10. It would be unable to do that, and instead do an infinite amount of damage to your opponent. But I've only seen one combination like that that even makes any sense like that.
Has he overcome the curse?
And you really wouldn't want something like that to be very doable, because it would potentially make it very, very annoying to play in multiplayer.
You planned to fight Rowan Dragspear?
Indeed I did, but the hour is not yet ripe, for he will grow stronger still.
And yeah, I'm barely even paying attention, even though the story is better.
One such as you cannot be expected to understand.
I'm sorry, everyone.
And I guess the question is, how many people can you squeeze on the screen? We've seen, I guess, 4 people. Although, at one point, if you include the 2 ghosts of Luna, then you got up to 5. But we have yet to see a way for them to squeeze all 7 or 8 characters on the screen at the same time.
If we all work together, there's nothing to be afraid of, right?
You could also have this battle and future battles occur where you just play as one character, like Forestcraft, and then when you die, you just swap into like Havencraft in the next group. So you effectively get 5 bites at the apple, or 7 bites at the apple, to defeat one enemy. That would be an easy way to solve that.
No, I won't allow you. That helps. Here goes. Ha!
It's a little surprising Erica hasn't recognized that.
It's losing strength.
That.
We've got this.
No, Orisa hasn't recognized that Erica needs to be healed and just healed her. I would think Orisa should probably be healing everybody always.
You're
You're not hurting anyone else.
if she can.
Stop being mean!
So they're fighting together, they're blocking attacks at other people.
For a dimwit, you were entertaining.
This is it, everyone! Ha!
They definitely are making it out like this guy is super difficult to beat and takes all 7 of the leaders, which then just once again shows that Yuan's power is just way stronger. At least it originally was when he first showed up.
And it was thanks to everyone here.
Okay, so that was 5 people
You're right.
in
If we
actual
hadn't worked together,
different
they would have fallen here.
images.
We'd never have reached Nexus.
But they are having them like appear
That may have
forward.
been so for you. Now I shall take my leave.
Wait!
What is it?
I noticed something. To fight as a team, we have to trust each other. So I trust you guys. Urias, Rowan, Isabel.
They start the sweet music. Let's see if it lasts the whole time.
And Luna, I trust you all. So please trust me. Let's fight together. Maybe I'm being silly, but I think we should all stick together. I need your help, everyone.
It should be me asking for your help. You believed in me, so let me fight.
I realize now how rashly I was acting. I believe in you, so let me help.
Yeah, this feels very sappy anime ending.
So you have my cooperation. I was bad. Can I go anyway? Sure you can. I trust you, Luna.
So it just smacks her in the face.
I trust you too.
Like they really needed
Is a sign of weakness.
different
I trust only
model
myself.
where the weapons are away.
But well enough. This is the first time in all my many years that I have been asked to trust someone.
I can follow one so earnest and sincere as you, Arisa.
I can't thank you guys enough.
Again, smack her
I'm
in the
gonna do this
face.
for Losaria. No, not just for her. For all of you too.
And see, if she was just taller, that
We're
would
gonna
be
beat Nexus and
not
save
so much
everyone.
an issue. So once again, you can play as everybody.
The Morning Star. We finally made it.
Indeed we did.
Arisa, be careful.
And we
Thank you.
kind of are gonna have some falling action,
What
I
are you trying
imagine,
to accomplish, Urias Formos?
where they are just gonna be fighting
I simply
shades
do
to
as
get
I wish.
to Losaria.
Now is not the time to battle them. I will wait until they are less harried, until they have better realized their potential. Before long, one of them may soon prove to be as great as Baltasar himself. Then...
See, Urias would be a great character to just say,
She's finally here.
you know what? I'm going to have a tournament in a year, and you must all fight and train in this tournament. If you don't appear and you don't fight and defeat me in a year, then I shall ravage the land and
Ye
kill
seven whose backs are turned to
everyone
fate,
around us.
wretched children of this world, I will judge you.
Losaria. No, I mean, Nexus.
By your deeds you cast destiny asunder, cross fate, and appear before me. How pitiful. How foolish.
Again, worth mentioning, just way too much stuff here.
Nexus, I was mistaken. You too are mistaken. Not all seek the same sort of liberation. The ways of life are manifold.
Once again,
and the
voice
ways of
acting
liberation
just
should be
changed.
manifold too.
I have no idea why.
Manifold liberations. Wherefore seekest thou such? I bring but one harmony. First destruction, thereupon rebirth. All shall crumble, all shall be remade. The time has come.
You know, it'd be funny if one of these generic malevolent bad guys actually succeeded in destroying a world, and then they rebirthed the world, and it was like way better. So if like Nexus put everybody to sleep, destroyed the world, and then rebirthed it, and it was like way more modern technology set in a modern time instead of a feudalistic time.
There's going to be a new one?
Yea, verily. This world had yet time before harmony was brought upon it. Howbeit, through prayer I descended hither.
It's just a lot of Old English being translated here.
Ye who would defy this instrument,
probably in
ye wretched
Japanese.
souls,
This
be
is
gone.
just being written in an older, more traditional way of speaking in Japanese.
Nexus!
And that would be kind of a hard localization challenge to figure out how you would translate that.
For you there shall be no serenity, only sorrow. Depart in the dust of this world.
No. We don't want your fate, and we're never giving up. We don't want your serenity, and we won't lose to sorrow. Just wait. We're going to beat you, and we're going to save Lusaria.
Yeah, and it does seem like Yuan has not shown up again in the story. So I don't know if they're gonna cram him in this very last battle or
Next,
what.
wretches, ye who obey not the order of the world shall have no place therein.
Yeah, this would be the point where Yuan would have appeared.
Shades keep coming, but we can't give up. We can still fight. You're right. As long as I can still stand, I'll keep going for the princess.
And everybody's just finding different kinds of
I
shades.
don't think so. I will protect you. Ah! Nexus, we won't lose to you.
I wonder if it saves
How hollow
energy
your
to
struggle.
turn back from a dragon, or if he would just be better off turning into a dragon and fighting Nexus in one go.
Not again.
The darkness of hearts is infinite. May the skies above, the ground below, and you yourselves be blotted out.
There's just so much talk in a lot of these stories. Like, this is supposed to be a world-ending battle, but because it's built around a card game and a very low budget to animate, like,
We can repel them easily enough.
instead they have to try and build up the drama and the tension with
We're almost there. We're so
dialogue.
close, I can almost feel her.
and
We can't give up yet.
it's all dialogue. There's nothing really
Take heart.
descriptive
If anyone
at all.
can do it, it's you.
You helped us before.
Again, I'm not sure that this isn't
Thou
just
art
being
marked.
uh,
Thou art the
this is
vessel
just being
of Nova.
crammed into it later on.
I traverse dimensions to vanquish you, Keeper.
So let's see if we can find the point where the story would have been played out without Yuan.
Shades are disappearing.
You chosen seven. You targeted seven. We can defeat Nexus of Serenity if we band together. Let's fight for the world.
You got it.
Let's see.
Thank you, whoever you are. And
all of
Nexus,
this would still have to
next
be
time I'll cut
new
through you.
content, or at least new dialogue.
It's not scary with you guys.
I'll take you down, Nexus. Wait and see.
You're in for all the magic I've got. In for the very last bit.
The conclusion nears. Until then,
It'd also be
give me the
weird
battle I
if
seek.
originally in the game they teased Yuan as a character and then didn't add him as a character until like several months after Chapter 2 had come out.
Wait for me, Lusaria. We're going to save the world.
Yeah. And see, this whole chapter is called The Keepers, so if Yuan wasn't around at this point originally to explain the Keepers, then it would have to be Nexus that would explain it just directly to you. But take note, this is still the original 7 that you can play as, so Yuan is still being crammed into this. He's not a playable character in this chapter.
Destruction and rebirth are the fate of the world. By these two principles cycle all worlds. To object is impermissible.
So yeah, this could have just happened right after Yuan. Yuan was crammed into the story.
Destruction? Rebirth? You don't get to decide that.
And as long as Yuan doesn't show up in this chapter,
Unacceptable.
then
Such is not for you to refuse.
yeah.
We are keepers. We hold the worlds at our bosom.
Yeah, see, this would be the point, I think, originally where they would just explain Keepers.
What are keepers?
And just, he wouldn't have been there.
Destruction and rebirth incarnate. Rulers of worlds.
And-
That's what keepers are. You didn't know, and you summoned them.
See, you could have
I did.
Don't let it
left
trouble
out this whole
Sooner or
conversation.
later, they'd have arrived in this world.
Do you know about Nexus?
Not much about her.
But the problem
But about keepers?
is when you start get to this conversation,
And why is that?
I don't know
The world that I
if
came
there was
from
an original version where he
was
wouldn't have been in
destroyed
this
by a
story.
keeper.
And they definitely did want to introduce the idea of there being different worlds.
Yours isn't the only world that exists.
But they wanted to kind of reveal it now at the end of the second
They
chapter.
all have keepers like Nexus of Serenity. Mine did too.
There are other worlds apart from ours? Ah!
I see. So you are a messenger from another world. Or perhaps an assassin? How entertaining!
Of course, we've already seen this, and this is continuing
Might call me that.
the problem
I
of
came to destroy
you
her
potentially seeing the same dialogue 2 or 3 times from
and to get
different people's
revenge.
perspective.
Contemptible vessel, opponent of nature's order. You and your world shall be destroyed.
But I would really, really, really like to see a actual battle here
Your determination
something
will
that-
overcome nature's order.
that shows
Pass through countless
Lusaria
worlds.
being defeated
I've never seen
kind of
anyone this
in a
determined.
completed way
We'll be
and
fine.
not just letting her
We'll
escape.
vanquish this keeper.
Because if we let her
I'm gonna
escape,
fight to the very
then it doesn't give us a nice
Nexus
clean
of
break
Serenity.
for the chapter
Your
3
arrogance won't
section,
stand.
which I
Let's
would prefer
end
that
this.
to happen several months or years later with
I'm super
a
strong.
completely different enemy, completely different goal, and way better written and developed characters. So this should be like the final battle,
I,
and she does have
bringer of harmony,
the appearance of being defeated,
by foolish mortals, such as you.
but she's gonna escape.
Every so often, life transcends nature.
And they don't name
You
him,
underestimated life's determination.
and they didn't show the scene where he said his
I'll make
name
my own
before.
destiny. Now give back Lusaria!
Ye harm this instrument. As I spake, I speak again. There will be no serenity for you and your world.
She has too many colors as a color palette too. She's got all this red, and then she's getting a black image, and all the shades are black.
She's opening a gate, planning to go to another world. We can't let her.
And her black aura is more purplish, where the shades are more bluish.
No! Shades! But what'll happen to Lusaria?
For you, for your world, there is but despair. Destruction and rebirth come perforce.
It seems fairly
My hand will
obvious
bring them
that they
to this
shouldn't have
world.
had you play as Yuan in
Sleep,
Chapter
O
1.
world,
It
until
makes
the
way
hour
more
ordained.
sense to do all the individual stories of the original 7 leaders, then do Chapter 2,
Something's going
then
on.
go back and do Chapter 1 for
Nexus
Yuan.
of Serenity.
And they really
You're fleeing. Are
didn't
you
do
fleeing?
anything to make that
After
obvious,
forcing your arrogance on us
um,
and devastating everything.
which basically means that Yuan's chapters should have happened in Chapter
Destruction
3.
and rebirth come perforce. My hand will bring them to this land. Take heed. Take heed. Take heed. Take heed. Take heed.
It's just taking forever to see the same thing twice.
Wait! No! You can't go! Lusaria! Lusaria!
And this is where it ended last time. And the last part here we have is called A New World, which is going to give us a like card back or something.
Now what? Nexus is... Lusaria is gone.
That's not all. Something seems strange now. This area, no, the world.
Oh, I guess this isn't where the story
silent.
ended.
Keepers destroy and revive worlds. But there's more to them than that. Each one has a special power. Nexus of Serenity has the power of stillness. Power to put worlds to sleep. To make them stand still.
Honestly,
Make
when
worlds
you
stand
look at
still.
it from a
But what about
4
the
years in perspective,
I'm sorry.
having the main story
Everyone you want to
add
save is
a
locked inside.
8th group of
Inside
chapters
Nexus's dream.
to each
We
section
probably can't save them. Not
is
while
just
the
really a
world
bad
stands
idea.
still.
It just makes everything longer
But the
and makes a
princess!
lot more
What about the
battles.
princess?
And I don't think
Get a hold of yourself.
like
There must be another
people who
avenue we
aren't
haven't
brand new
explored
to the
yet, right?
game would want to go back and play the main story again
But
many
for you,
years
it might
later
be a path of
um,
sorrow. Let
to
me
see
introduce myself.
Yuan's
I'm called
perspective.
Yuan. I've crossed dimensions to find nerve
and
purgation.
I imagine most players wouldn't have even remembered what the main story really was.
Has your world stopped like ours?
No. Mine was destroyed. Purged without compassion. Without mercy. All I've got left is vengeance.
Yeah, it really feels like there's just going to be
Awful.
a
You
single
and I are comrades now.
second where
I'll help you if you're hunting
where
keepers.
they move to a different world.
Being a keeper's vessel gave me power. Let me share it with you. Share the key you need to cross worlds. You'll be able to hunt down Nexus, and then save your world. You might not arrive in Nexus of Serenity's hiding place. You might end up someplace else. somewhere much crueler. Or you might have to fight higher level keepers, not just Nexus of Serenity. Do you want to go anyway?
Feels like at that point it should pop up a yes or no option.
I'll do whatever it takes to save Lusaria. I have to save the princess immediately. Please count me in.
So Yuan
That's a little frightening.
is going to give them the power to
I'm not going to run.
transport,
I owe that
which
much
if
to
he
Prince
wasn't in
Rydo.
the story originally, I don't know how they would have gotten to a different
But
universe.
what about the rest of you?
Maybe it'll help Mother and Father if I go to another world. I want to go.
I'm going too. Kyle's soul is trapped in this world, and I want to release him.
A new world brings new foes and perhaps another keeper.
I'm not
My
sure
heart
if
pulses at the thought.
they implied
I will
that
accompany
dead
you also.
people and
Nexus is
souls were
summoned by my
being
hand,
caught by shades
and by
or
my
put
hand, I
put
shall
to sleep.
create a conclusion.
All right. Then have
Like the
this.
way you do this without
Key to the
Yuan
next world.
is that you just have Eris decide that she has some magical powers she didn't know.
You can use it to travel to the next world. Just dive through the gate that you opened.
And
When we
I guess in theory he put that mark on the stomachs of everybody else, and then that might explain why all the characters
As long
have
as
their
nothing
stomachs
interferes.
covered up,
Let's go.
Okay,
except for his.
I'm going to track down Nexus. And this time
Which-
I'll save Lusaria for real.
I wouldn't agree with that idea. I think
To transcend
you could have had slightly different fashion here where was some midriff showed. Yep. I definitely remember there were some fairly conservative parents that would rant about midriff showing. And probably there still are some parents like that, but I don't think there's enough people that think that's a big enough deal anymore. Maybe in large parts because of just how hot global warming has made things. So that leaves me now with needing to come and play this solo part for 6 chapters and then do all of this for a massive 11 chapters, which then would put us in a position where we could start doing the Guild War. And if I was to guess, the Guild War and the Guild War conclusion take place in one world, and then they travel to a different world to do Gears of Rebellion and Gears of Rebellion Uprising, and then Seeds of Conflict and Seeds of Conflict Harrowing, which these very well are probably in different worlds also, and then Invasion of the World Reaver. Seems to be like a final single story, which oddly doesn't have split leader elements or a end section unlocked so far. So when we look at the main menu, it says New Story Chapter 9 through 14, Invasion of the World Reaver. Seems to be that they have plans and to maybe on a monthly basis release a new chapter, or perhaps all of this is released and you just have to do chapter 9 before chapter 10 unlocks. So there could be a lot more to be done, or it might hit a point where actually I just go far enough ahead that I can't actually do chapter 10, 11, 12, or 14, and I'll have to make special event videos to cover that when they come out. We got an achievement here, which was completing chapter 12 to get another flare piece. And yeah, that's probably all we're gonna get as far as completing chapters in general going forward. I don't think we're going to get too much otherwise. And we are up to 2,270 gold, so it does seem like that has helped us somewhat. And 21 hours until the sale ends. Let's open a celebratory pack, and then that's going to be it for this stream. Yeah, we still haven't gotten any crates. We still haven't gotten any other pack rewards, really. There is a logical flaw, if you think about it, in the fact that each of these cards represents a follower to the leaders. But the main story has shown that none of the leaders actually are leaders of anyone. They are individual fighter heroes, much more than leaders or commanders. And there's nobody alive in their main universe that could have been a follower in the first place. So then you get into kind of the weird mentality of Magic the Gathering, where each of the cards represents a memory that you're magically recalling, and so the creature spells that you cast in Magic the Gathering don't actually, at least technically, represent creatures. They instead represent magical shades of creatures. Let's see. Here we have Soothing Spell. Restore 3 defense to an ally. If at least 2 other cards are played this turn, recover 1 evolution point. That's actually very good. I like this animation, although again, I would say maybe too much focus on the background stuff. You might want to make that a little bit more dull so she stands out as a character, and perhaps not brighten this flower up so much, because at first glance I didn't even see that she was healing a plant at all. I'm still not sure for 100% that she's not healing a frog or something. See, next we have Bonaza Necromancer. Fanfare, enhance 7, reanimate 10. Whenever you perform a borrow right, draw a card. So, reanimate as an idea. Randomly summon a copy of one of the highest cost allied followers that has been destroyed in this match and costs less than or equal to the reanimate value. So, for a cost of 2, you don't get the reanimate, but if you pay 7 instead, it would bring back a 10 cost character. So that could be a very useful card. I'm not sure what's going on with his face here in this animation. Next we have Curmudgeon Org, or Fanfare, enhance 6, give +1/+1 to all allied Bloodcraft followers. If Vengeance is activated, give +2/+2 instead. This is fairly large difference in appearance. We just get a growl. Here we have Ernesta Weapons Hawker. Fanfare, rally 10, put a Dreadhound into your hand. What is rally? Activates when a number of allied followers have come into play this match equal to greater to the rally value. Interesting. And we have 2 of these, so either this was a very lucky card pack opening, or the drop rate of this card is not particularly good. And the Dreadhound is a 4/4 for 1 mana with Bane and Ward, and it gives a random Ernesta Weapons Handler last words, deal 4 damage to a follower. Interesting. So we'll need to check to see if having 2 of these is enough or too many, because I'm not sure you can even have 2 of the silver class cards. Next we have Priestess of Foresight, Fanfare of an allied follower with ward is then played, destroy an enemy follower, otherwise gain world. Again, fairly drastic change. Different hair color, different outfit color. Honestly though, I think I would prefer if the evolved forms had completely different art. It seems fairly lazy. Here we have Selfless Noble. Let's see, and it's Fanfare, discard a card, gain +X +X. X is equal to the original cost of the discarded card. So, in theory, you could discard a 10 cost card and make this a 21-19 on the 9th turn. Which you make it to the 9th turn in this game a lot more than other times. Next we have Lionel Woodland Shadow, accelerate 1, deal 5 damage to an enemy follower. Can only accelerate if an allied follower has evolved this turn. Otherwise you summon it for 7 and it deals 5 damage to an enemy follower. Then if the selected follower had 5 defense or less before damage, evolve this follower. And when it evolves once on each of the opponent's turn, when an opponent plays a follower, deal 10 damage to it, which that could be very, very devastating. Certainly. I was playing against somebody, I think online, that had a artifact that was doing 2 damage to every creature that attacked, and that was fairly devastating of a concept. Yeah, and then we have Ernesta, Weapons Hawker again. And what does that put us with the tradables? Now, this bonus has already been acquired. And what else has a bonus that we've already acquired? This one. We've gotten like 2 of probably 13, if I was to guess, really important cards in the Fortune Hand series. And yeah, it's questionable whether we will get all of the Fortune Hand cards, or if it even matters. A lot is still up in the air as far as just how much I actually end up playing this game before the Marvel card game comes out. Let's see. Deck list was not what I was looking for. I was looking for cards. So if we were going to liquefy cards now and extras, apparently we still don't have any extras. Yeah, apparently you can have 3 copies of legendary cards. Interesting. So it's a little surprising that there are 4 tiers of cards and you can still have 4 copies of everything. And we're still oddly at 142 pages, but I guess that fairly makes sense though, because why wouldn't we still be at 142 pages if we've only opened 2 or 3 packs? There is kind of a massive amount of work I would need to put into getting more cards to make a major difference. And it's just going to take time, frankly. Time in doing the daily missions, which maybe the temporary gems don't matter. So, yeah. For instance, this daily mission here, I need to win Bloodcraft or Portalcraft in main story or practice, and I need to win 1 in Forestcraft in main story and practice, which is actually very doable. And I don't even know if it's necessary to replace some of this. And I don't know if this really is giving you less or more rupees. It probably is giving you less compared to playing multiplayer. Yeah, if I really thought about it. Okay, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.